Hey there, and welcome to a deep dive tailored just for you. Today we're exploring something that's both visually stunning and mathematically profound. Symmetry.
Oh, I love this topic.
Get ready to uncover the secrets of symmetry. We're going to be looking at nature, art, and even problem solving.
It's amazing how something as simple as the repetition of patterns can hold so much significance.
It really is.
Symmetry is woven into the fabric of our world. I mean, think about it. From the structure of a snowflake to the design of iconic buildings, it's everywhere.
It really is everywhere. And our main source of inspiration for this deep dive is 13, symmetry.pdf. It's got some great visuals and even a hands-on activity we'll get to later. But first, let's start with a classic example of symmetry, maybe the most classic, the Taj Mahal.
Oh, perfect example. The Taj Mahal is a perfect illustration of line symmetry. Imagine drawing a line straight down the middle.
Okay.
Both sides are mirror images of each other, creating that sense of perfect balance and harmony.
Okay, that makes total sense. So that line we're imagining, that's the line of symmetry, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be vertical, does it?
You got it. It can be, horizontal, diagonal, or even something way more complex. Think about a simple square. How many lines of symmetry do you think it has?
Let me see. Well, there's one down the middle, one across, and then one for each diagonal, right? So that's 4 in total.
Exactly. A square has 4 lines of symmetry.
Cool.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. A circle has infinite lines of symmetry.
What?
Yeah. Any line you draw through the center creates 2 matching halves.
Whoa, that's blown my mind a little. So symmetry isn't just about having one line. It's about how many ways you can divide something and still maintain that balance.
Precisely. And that concept of multiple lines of symmetry hints at a deeper principle. Rotational symmetry.
Okay.
It means an object looks the same even after you rotate it.
Like a clock face. You can turn it, and it still looks the same because of its rotational symmetry.
Exactly. And the source highlights another fascinating example of intricate symmetry, Koch's snowflake.
Oh, yeah, I've seen pictures of that. It's like a snowflake with infinite patterns, right?
Yes. It's a fractal, a shape that repeats infinitely, getting more complex while maintaining its symmetrical properties.
Wow.
What's amazing is that we see this pattern in nature, too, like in the branching of trees or the veins of a leaf.
That's so cool. It's like this hidden code that governs how things grow and are structured.
And sometimes the absence of perfect symmetry is just as important. Think about the human body.
Good point.
While we have a general left-right symmetry, there are subtle variations that make us unique.
That's a good point. So symmetry isn't just about rigid perfection.
Right.
It's about balance, proportion, and even the beauty of imperfection.
Absolutely. And speaking of balance, let's revisit that concept of reflection because it's key to understanding how symmetry works.
Okay, so we're moving from the Taj Mahal to mirrors now.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. What does reflection have to do with it all?
Well, think about what happens when you look in a mirror.
Exactly. You see a reflected version of yourself. And while it looks almost identical, there's a crucial difference.
It's like my brain knows it's not really me, but a flipped version, Everything's reversed.
Precisely. That's the key to reflectional symmetry.
Yeah.
It's not just about creating, identical halves, but mirror images. The source even uses the example of holding a word up to a mirror,
Right.
It's reversed, even though the letters themselves are symmetrical.
Okay, I get it now. It's like that mind-bending trick where you try to write your name while looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
It's way harder than it seems because our brains just naturally want to see that reflectional symmetry.
And this concept of reflection, it isn't just limited to mirrors. Remember the paperboy problem we touched upon earlier?
Oh, yeah, the one where we were trying to find the shortest route. Well, that problem can be elegantly solved using the principles of reflectional symmetry. It's about finding the point where the distances are equal, when reflected, just like a beam of light bouncing off a mirror.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like symmetry is this hidden language that helps us solve problems and understand how things work.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that it pops up in the most unexpected places. Think about kaleidoscopes, for example.
Oh, those are mesmerizing. All those colorful patterns shifting and changing.
They utilize mirrors to create those symmetrical patterns. The angle between the mirrors determines the number of lines of symmetry you see, resulting in an endless variety of shapes.
It's like taking that concept of reflectional symmetry and just multiplying it to create something truly stunning.
And just like those kaleidoscope patterns, symmetry can be found in various forms of art and design.
You're right, like those intricate Rangoli and column patterns from India.
Exactly. They beautifully demonstrate how symmetry can be used to create, visually captivating and culturally significant art forms. But it's not just visual arts. Think about music for a second.
Okay, this is where I need you to connect the dots for me. How does music relate to symmetry?
Well, music relies on patterns and repetition to create a sense of balance and harmony.
Oh, I see what you mean, like the repeating melodies and rhythms.
Precisely. It's a form of symmetry in time, creating a sense of order and predictability that our brains just find pleasing.
That's fascinating. So even though we can't see it in the same way we see a symmetrical shape, it's still there, influencing how we experience the music.
Exactly. And this principle extends even further. Think about storytelling, for example.
Okay, now you're really making me think. What does symmetry have to do with stories?
Many stories, especially those following the classic hero's journey, have a symmetrical structure. There's a descent, a confrontation, and then a return. It's this, balance of action and reaction, tension and release that keeps us engaged.
Wow. You're right, I never thought about it that way, but it makes so much sense.
It's all about recognizing these underlying patterns that influence our perception and appreciation of the world around us.
This whole deep dive has been eye-opening. I feel like I'm seeing the world in a whole new light. Yeah. Noticing symmetry everywhere.
And that's the beauty of it. Once you start recognizing these patterns, you can't unsee them. They're woven into the very fabric of our universe, from the smallest atom to the grandest galaxy.
It's like you've unlocked a secret code, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly everything from art to music to stories has this hidden layer of symmetry.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, where else does this principle apply? What other, hidden symmetries are waiting to be discovered?
Yeah. It's almost like a new lens to view the world through. But before we get too carried away, let's bring it back to our listener. What can they take away from all of this?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that symmetry isn't just some, abstract mathematical concept. It's a fundamental principle that underpins so much of what we find beautiful, harmonious, and even functional, right, in the world around us.
That's a great point. So it's not just about being able to, spot a line of symmetry. It's about understanding how this concept influences our perception, our creativity, and even our problem-solving abilities.
Absolutely. And the more you learn about it, the more you start to see it everywhere. It's, it's in the arrangement of petals on a flower, the spiral of a seashell, the intricate patterns of a spider's web.
It's like nature's own design principle, guiding everything from the smallest organisms to the grandest cosmic structures.
Precisely. And the more we understand these principles, the more we can appreciate the elegance and complexity of the world around us.
Well said. This deep dive has been truly mind-expanding. I feel like I have a whole new appreciation for the beauty of symmetry and the role it plays in our lives.
And that's what we hope to achieve with these depth dives, to spark your curiosity, deepen your understanding, and encourage you to see the world with fresh eyes.
So to our listener out there, we leave you with this. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep an eye out for the hidden symmetries that surround you. You never know what you might discover.
Happy exploring.